Hi, everyone. We're going to discuss some of our assignments for today. Sorry I couldn't be with you, but I want to go over the worksheets. And so let's get started. We are in Module 2. We're going to work a little bit more on mastering that handy dandy little scale and also dive into architectural lettering, which is really an art form. We want to make sure that you guys get lots of practice on that. So let's go to Module 2, and I'm going to go over some of these worksheets that I want you to print and work on at home. We'll go over them next week just to make sure that everyone feels comfortable using the scale and architectural lettering style. So let me share my screen and get to the correct location, which is right here. Okay, so as you guys know that we are over here in Module 2. Please view all of the videos, how to write like an architect, some of the drawing systems, and the steps to lettering and some of those demos. But what I want to focus on right now in class today is these little in-scale designs, assignments. They're like worksheets. So what I'd like you to do is copy both these worksheets, and we'll take a look at what they look like. Okay, one is a little floor plan. It's at 1/8 inch scale, meaning for every 1/8 inch, it equals a foot. Okay, and the second is little worksheet, looks like this. Okay, right here. So you need to print these two worksheets. So I'm going to stop my share, and we're going to take a look at this guy. We're going to work on placing our scale and how to convert this into feet and inches. Okay, remember when you print these, you must print them so that they are actual size, not to fit. So let me start with this little assignment. The goal of this is to just make you feel comfortable with your scale. Now, most of you right now need to have the scale in order to do these assignments. So the scale is really important right now. Remember our scale. We have the one area that has 1/4 inch on one side and 1/8 of an inch on the other. That's what we're going to be using, that side. Now, I personally have my little baby scale. I love this one. It's very convenient for little projects like this. So what you want to do on this worksheet is you want to, in a 1/4 inch scale, lay down your scale, making sure that you're in the right location. If you have one of these, red is always the one like stop. Here's where it is. And this is where you would place your scale onto that line. And remember that you are going to measure it, okay? So when I start on the scale and I move it and I see that there's leftovers, remember how you kind of push your scale to the inches until you fully cover to a perfect exact number and then have those leftover inches. Okay, remember the scale. So we're doing this at the 1/4 inch scale. For me, this first one ended up being, and let's take a look at this, 20 feet, 6 inches. Okay, goes all the way to that 20, and it goes over right about halfway through on those inches. Okay, so 20 feet, 6 inches. So you will go ahead and write on this little space 20 feet. That little dash is a foot, and 6, and then 2 little dashes, inches. Remember, we're going to do everything in feet and inches. Even if there's 0 inches, you're going to say 20 feet, 0 inches, okay? You don't just say 20 feet. So you'll go and measure each one of this and write down the scale. This will be great to get for practice. Now, this is a little tricky too. Some of you, maybe inches are not your normal measurement. Maybe you work on the metric system, so this is going to be a little more challenging. Understanding that in our system, we have 12 increments. 12 inches equal a foot. Metric is really actually quite simpler. Everything's by 10. So you have to get used to the idea of a foot and inches left over. And so it can be a little complicated. Now, the first one we're going to convert to inches, and that's pretty easy. You have 9 feet, 5 inches. How do you do that? Well, if we have 9 feet and there's 12 inches in a foot, you're just going to times 9 times 12. So 9 times 12 equals 108 inches. So we have 108 inches. That's what 9 feet plus 5. That's going to give us the total inches. So 108 plus 5 more inches gives us a total of 113 inches. So in that case, we're converting feet and inches into pure inches. Okay? So you will, once again, with the 4 feet, 2 inches, you're going to times 4 times 12. So 4 times 12 inches. And then you're going to add the extra 2 inches. Okay? So every full number, 24 feet, you're going to times that by 12 and then add the 8. 1, you're going to times by 12 and add the 5, and so forth. Now, converting inches to feet, you now divide. Now, in this case, we'll go do a little sample, 128 inches. Let's just do the math. 128 inches. I want to create, see how many feet in inches. So I'm going to divide this by 12. Okay, that's going to give me a number, but it's also going to give me decibels. So let's just take a look and see what happens when I do that. Okay, 128 inches divided by 12 gives me 10.666. Okay, well, we don't want to pay attention to the remainder. Okay, so for sure we know we have 10 feet. So if I times 10 times 12, what do I get? So 10 times 12 equals 120. Well, I have a total of 128. So I know I for sure have 10 feet. So if I take 128 inches total and I minus 120 inches, I get a total of 8 inches left over. So therefore, 128 inches represent 12 feet, 8 inches. Because remember that 12 feet is 120 inches plus your little 8. That's how you get that. Okay, it's like remainder. This is back. Hopefully this isn't backwards because you guys are looking at a screen. Like this might be backwards to you, so it's kind of a bummer. But hopefully you're seeing this. Okay, it might be a little upside down because of what we're doing. But I want you to understand the idea of a remainder. It's old school. So you always just try to find how many feet there are, and then you minus the total inches by the total amount of feet, and whatever's the remainder gives you those inches. So do your best. Okay, so this is a really great little worksheet. So as we found out, 128 inches equals 12 feet, 8 inches. Okay. Okay. So that's the one worksheet that you're going to be working on. The second one is this is also to get you used to using a scale. So this is going to be very common. You're going to start doing this in just a few weeks. We're going to scale up our floor plan. So here you have this. Remember, please try to print this to actually the actual size. And so you want to make sure that you're not just doing it to fit as you're printing. So once again, this is the idea of measuring out a floor plan. Okay, so you're looking at it. I want you to measure out all the exterior dimensions. Okay, and then interior dimensions. Okay, what does that look like? Well, this is a pretty square. So we know that this and this are pretty equal. But look at, there's some elements. There's a little balcony right here. Okay. Also, there's windows. Those are considered windows when you see the little window panes. This is the foyer, the front door. So there's architectural things going on. Front door, a little window. Then you come around here, goes a nice wall, but then it jags into a window. There's a balcony there. And then that wall continues with 2 windows. And then here it's just pure wall. So what we want to do is when we're measuring the outside of a home or any space, we create extension lines. So we're going from the outside of the wall to the outside of the wall. And we want to, these are called tick marks. They're little diagonal pieces. You want to measure from the outside to the outside and put your dimension there in feet and inches. So you are going to do this in 1/8-inch scale. Now, the last one we were working on, it was in 1/4-inch scale. This is an 1/8 inch. It's a very small floor plan. So once again, I go to my handy dandy red section, but I want to make sure that I'm using the 1/8 inch section. So I will measure from one corner to the next. Okay. Now here, it almost goes to a full. So I push it down. And what I get when I look at this, I have 32, 33, 34, 35 feet, 6 inches. Might be hard to see that, but it's coming in. Remember, when you're looking at the 1/8 inch, you're looking at the smaller number. Okay, we're reading from this way down, not from the 1/4 inch up. Really pay attention. So I put this down. I notice it goes to 32, 33, 34, 35 feet. And I push up into those little inches. It goes at the halfway mark. So this tells me that this wall is 35 feet, 6 inches. See that? Okay, it might be backwards for you. Sorry, we're looking at it backwards, but I want you to get the idea. Now, how do you measure around? Now, we also want to do the overall dimensions, but what we're going to do is you're going to dimension every little component that's a break. So here, you're going to measure from this point to this point. That's a little piece of wall. Then you're going to measure how big the window is, how big that little piece of wall, that piece of window, and leftover wall. Okay, put your scale down and start adding and put your dimensions all on the top there. Okay, now here, if you continue this, right, we have a little window because we're going to dimension this wall too. See? Now on this side, what do? We bring those extension lines up. So every element, this represents this wall. Okay, so you're going to tell me how far from here to here, from here to here, and you're going to put it right here. Okay. Now we're going to flip it over and do the same on this, every little break. So we have a little bit of wall here. We have a window. We have a foyer, and then we have a wall. So this gives you a lot of practice on dimensioning little sections of this space from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to there. And you'll place the dimensions right on top of, okay. And then this one is super easy because it's just one wall, and this is super easy. So I already did that one for you. Now, when we get into the interior spaces, I just want you to go length to the inside of the wall and overall. Now, you'll never cross over lines, so you skip it. So length times width. We're going to do that for the bedroom. The dining, we're going to pretend that the dining kind of ends here. Okay, because if I was a dining room. Okay, here a living room. You're going to do the whole length and this whole width. Okay, those are the rooms I want you to do. So take a look at this. You can stop the video and pause it right now and make sure that you are creating all the dimensions. So as I do this little, let's say this little bedroom, and I place my 1/8 inch scale here, I go from the inside wall to the inside wall, and I'm getting the total exact length of 12, 13, 14, 15 feet. It is exactly 15 feet. See, 15 feet, 0 inches. So take a look at yours that you print and see if you get 15 as well. Maybe it's not printing to scale, but do your best. Even if it doesn't, I want you to practice. So practice every single area that I've just discussed and measure this whole room out. This will give you a lot of practice. Okay. So between measuring these out in 1/4 inch and placing them in feet and inches, then converting feet and inches to inches and inches to feet and inches. And then practicing with your little handy dandy scale. So you'll go ahead and scan these all in as well with your actual assignments to show that you participated. We'll go through any questions next week if you do have any issues at all on these 2 worksheets. They're great practice, and I think they'll make you feel confident about utilizing a scale. Now, next, I want to focus on our architectural lettering. So there's a lot of videos there. There's a lot of different techniques that you can watch. You can even find some more. But I want you to take the sheets that are in your module, and they look something like this. And there are 4 of them in different sizes. See these? I know these are backwards, but okay. You are going to print all 4 sheets and place some tracing paper. You don't have to use your good vellum. Place the tracing paper on top and practice drawing with right on top exactly how they are. But I want you to note something. You should always use a straight edge, preferably either your lettering guide or a little triangle, but even this will do. While you're placing your tracing paper on top of here, okay, you are going to use a straight edge for all of the nice vertical lines, making sure that every vertical line you use has a nice, you're using a ruler or a straight edge. Okay, I don't want to see a lot of free flowing, just, ad-libbing with this, without using a vertical edge for all the verticals. So let's say that I am drawing a few letters here, and I would use my straight edge. I don't have my, do I have my triangle with it? Maybe I do. Hold on, maybe I have that triangle right here. I want to actually, okay, here we go. This is a little better. This is what you want to use. Don't really want to use your, so when I am drafting, or when I'm doing my lettering, okay, I like to rest my triangle, right on that T-square or that parallel bar. But I will, if I'm going to start to do my letter, you see how nice and clean that is? I use the straight and I create that style. I practice these different styles. This is very architectural. And let's say I am going to, always use my triangle. Okay. When I am, ripple. Sorry, it's hard to do it without a straight edge. So do you see every single time I'm doing a vertical line, I am utilizing, okay, I am utilizing my triangle. Now, the lettering guide is used to create perfect straight lines, right? And we'll talk a little bit more so that you don't go and start drawing all over the place. So you do want to have those perfect straight lines and start to letter on there. It'll make it nice and easy and even. Okay. So remember, when you're practicing these and you're going over all the letters on tracing paper, you want to make sure that you are constant, and see how they have that lettering guidelines. It's really important. You want to make sure that you are utilizing every vertical line will all line up. See how very stylized these are? This little loop mimics this loop. It mimics kind of this loop. They tend to they're very kind of stylized. You'll see how they round their C's, they round their D's, the G's. They tend to be very very organized. Architectural lettering is an art form. It takes a lot of practice. You guys are going to do many of those, a lot of this, because I will be grading just as harshly on architectural lettering, just as well as your line quality, because it really does show the professionalism behind an overall drawing. The whole thing matters. It has to look like it's computer generated. Architectural lettering over time will become easier, where you may not have to use the straight edge, but when I am doing my lettering, it's very stylized, and when I do my regular writing, it's quite sloppy. Well, when I'm really trying to create architectural lettering, I'm making sure it's very stylized. And each one of yours will be a little different, but you'll find that you're going to have the same characteristics for each letter. So we have the 2 scale assignments worksheets and lettering to practice. Okay, that's what we would have done in class. Now, once you get down with all that lettering and are feeling comfortable, this is the time where we get to bring it together, and you will be copying these 2 elements. Okay, you'll get a lot of experience. So here, this helps you. Not only is this a handy worksheet to understand what lines go with what, it's your cheat sheet here. You are going to get the opportunity to practice lettering. So try to mimic this lettering perfectly using straight edges and creating. So you're going to literally just put this under a half a sheet of vellum. So take 1 sheet, cut it in half. You will trace this with your best lettering. And remember, and your best pins, you're going to have different thicknesses. So it may require you to use various pencils. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have a straight edge, that this is perfectly straight, and you're going to literally copy this. Now, just a side note, when you see anything shaded in like that, you never take your pencil and shade it in really hard on the front side of a vellum. Okay, it makes it very hard to erase. We call this paché, and that is when you flip over your vellum and you actually fill in that little triangle part with the pencil from behind. It gives it a nice, soft, dewy look, okay? And it makes it look really professional. We call that paché. You want to always fill in your walls, anything that shows solid black, you fill it in from behind, not the front. So I'll be looking for that as well, making sure that's pachéd, that little part is pachéd from behind. So you will copy this, and then you will also copy the standard abbreviations for architectural drawings. This is great practice, and it's also a wonderful reference sheet. You will be using this on your final project. So if you do an amazing job, you won't have to redraw it. So all of these will be utilized in the road. You'll find you're going to utilize all these symbols, all these different line types. So these sheets will act as a reference guide for future projects. So once again, to recap, you will be starting off working on the scale practice in feet and inches, and then from inches to feet. And then you're going to practice scaling all of this out in 1/8 inch scale. Okay, remember, always draw everything in feet and inches. And then for your actual assignment, you will be tracing this on vellum using your best lettering skills and line skills. And remember, fill in anything that's black from behind on your vellum. And then finally, you will do these abbreviations. I will be looking to making sure there's consistency in the lettering, that you're using a nice straight edge. Well, I hope that you find this very helpful. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Sorry I couldn't be there. And we'll go over any questions you have in class. You guys have a great week, and I know you'll do great. Thank you.